because Serie B is it's a wild league and a lot of things go on. So
it's a wild league. Well said. And I'm sure we'll have a lot of. We're gonna laugh a lot about our predictions.
Guaranteed to be wrong. Just
absolutely 100%.
Cittadella are the only team in Veneto for this season because Vicenza failed to get promoted. Venezia went up to Serie A.
I would be happy with 𝐏𝐵𝐸 and Reggiana being last and second to last. We are going to be touching upon each and every one of the teams on the league, so stay with us, interact with us, and together we're going to be speaking Serie B. Roma!
Welcome to the 21st episode of Speaking Serie B. Here with me is 𝐏𝐵𝐸-USA. I'm Jake. Glad to be with us, and it's been a while since I've done this intro, so excuse me if I'm struggling here a little bit, but nonetheless, together with me is, as always, from SPEZIato, it is Elia, the Italian guy. Elia, are you ready for this upcoming match, big match against Sassuolo?
Indeed, absolutely. Thank you very much for the intro, and a lot to talk about what happened, and looking forward to what is going to happen next. The best striking line of the league is going to be facing in La Spezia the best defensive line. But a lot has happened in the most recent round. So let's start with the results maybe of the most recent Serie B round.
Yeah, it was an important match day, but this upcoming match day is going to be big because not only that, we have the big match, the Spezia Sassuolo, but we also have a scontri diretti at the bottom of the table between Cosenza and Cittadella.
Indeed. So we are entering a more and more crucial section of the remaining championship. Every game counts even more than the previous one because there is always less and less games to be played. So for sure.
You mentioned the fact that Spezia getting a 4-0 win at Carrarese in the derby. So that must have felt good, right?
So it was a great result for the team and for the city, the fans. Unfortunately, none of the supporters from Spezia, at least those that are living within the provincia of the city, were able to go to this historic game. Historic already regardless of the result, but in light of the unexpected result as well, because maybe there were some Spezia fans that were expecting Spezia to go to Carrara and win, but none of us would have expected such a big gap in between the two teams, myself included. In the predictions from the previous episode of last week, I would have been happy with a draw, being that Carrarese was in a very good shape, and in Carrara lost teams such as Pisa and Palermo. So with a lot of players that were out for Mr. Luca D'Angelo due to injuries and to red cards or the sums of the yellow cards, it was a sort of an emergency for the coach to manage. Nevertheless, after drawing at home with Juve Stabia, losing in Bari in the first game of the second half of the season, and drawing with Mantova with one more player than Mantova, now this huge victory away in such a felt derby for 4-0 is a great monitor, is a great signal for the rest of the teams and the championship. So now we'll see what's going to happen next in La Spezia. I know that it wasn't such a great week for Cittadella, so tell us about it. What happened, Jake?
Yeah, it was a 2-1 defeat against Mantova, so that was also, you could say, a relegation 6-pointer. It was a difficult loss to take because even after the match, Dal Canto, the Cittadella head coach, said it was his best. He thought it was the best performance of the team since he arrived. That was back in October. So it was interesting because, yes, we knew Mantova was going to hold a lot of possession. They have the highest possession rate in Serie B, but they didn't really they weren't very dangerous, I'd say, in the attacking third. But the 2 times that they did look dangerous, they scored. One was off of man, now I kind of forgot. It was like
Let's
a
see.
cross to the far post, and then it was a penalty by Mancuso. So he scored, and then Vita got one back. And the last 60 minutes or so, Cittadella, they had chances. They definitely had their chances. Pandolfi missed 2 really strikes, at least one of them where he really should have found the net, but he scuffed wide. And they had chances, Cittadella, to at least take a draw from this, which is kind of
6 corners for you guys. So definitely, yeah.
Yeah. It was definitely one of those games where they just a draw, I think, would have been a deserved result, but it's a loss. It's the first. I was looking at it. It was actually the first time Cittadella lost at home since second week of November. So it's been a while, and they have been getting draws and wins at home. So it stops right now, but this it just leads to the way for a really huge match against Cosenza this upcoming weekend, because after that, another relegation 6-pointer, we've got obviously the home match against Spezia, and then Pisa. So 2 very difficult games. And if you want to look past that, even away against Catanzaro, another long road trip or flight or whatever, and Catanzaro up the table. So these are very crucial weeks coming up for Cittadella.
Right. I left the stats open because, as you said, Mantova is very good with ball possession. I remember during the chat that we had the pregame of Spezia Mantova with Andrea Gabbi, who's caporedattore della Gazzetta di Mantova. He explained us that Mantova fans are surprised when they have less than 65% of possession, because it's a young team, newly promoted, but they have a very good coach that likes to always have the domain of the ball, the creation of the game. Yeah. But you didn't even allow them to get that much more ball possession. So I'm sorry for this loss at home. But yeah, as you said, you probably performed much better than it shows.
Yeah, it was, that's, we definitely expected that. It was, we knew that Mantova was going to hold a lot of the ball. They were very, committed to that playing style, because, every time they did that, they would they would like have 2 players in the box playing out of the back, so they wouldn't send it long. They would always try to play out of the back, which did, I think, lead to some turnovers where Cittadella couldn't make them pay. But yeah, it was a very interesting dynamic how the game unfolded. Right. And I think, but we're going to see definitely a different type of game in Cosenza, which I'm actually
also because.
Oh yeah, I'm actually I'm going to be a guest on Lotta con I Lupi with Antonio Palopoli this later tonight. So if you want to catch it on it, the show starts at 9:30 p.m. European time. And actually, speaking of Antonio, I actually did a podcast in Italian with him this past Monday. So if you'd like to go check that out, 𝐏𝐫𝐞 USA podcast, you can find it everywhere. So go check it out. Antonio is a good guy. He knows his stuff on Cosenza.
Yeah, absolutely. He's like an historian of soccer. Yeah, absolutely. He's very
so it was great talking
knowledgeable. To him. All right, so let's take a look at the results of this 22nd round and see how we did with our predictions. Then we'll take a look at the standings, and we'll then make the predictions on the upcoming 23rd round of the Serie B League. Please, Jake, go ahead. If you can see them, you can read the results and how we did.
Yes, Sampdoria, Cesena coming from behind to finally get a win. That was long waited, but Samp continues to struggle. We both did not get any points on this, as well as Cittadella losing to Mantova. I was close on this. If Cittadella had scored 1 more goal, they would have had the point, but 0.
We did not see this loss coming, huh?
But we do get 2 back-to-back points for both of us on Salernitana Reggiana, which was an interesting game itself, because Reggiana was leading 1-0, and then they get a red card, and then in the 90 plus 10th minute, Alberto Cedi scores for Salernitana to get them a really important win for them. And, that was a bit of controversy because, the Reggiana fans were saying it wasn't a penalty and it wasn't a red card. But, that was a very interesting moment. Modena Frosinone going down to 10 men for majority of the game, but able to fight back and win a draw there. So we both get a point for that. As well as Cremonese Cosenza, Cremonese scoring 2 late goals into that game. It was 3-1 in the end. So Cremonese,
this must be easy results, because if you see, we agree in the 3 that we got, we both agree on the result. So
yeah, and it was
just being easy predictions probably.
It was Antonio was telling me this is also probably one of the biggest weeks of Cosenza's history in the last few years, because not only that they have this game against Cittadella where they're sitting last place, haven't won a home game since September. They're waiting on the results in court from the CONI of the -4 point
I didn't know that was still going. I thought that it was already finalized. So they could be rewarded the 4 points that they've been subtracted.
Antonio said, getting scrapped the 4 points would have been, a miracle. But I think they were just looking at -2 instead. But
I see.
It looks like the CONI, denied their appeal. So -4 points, it stays. For Cosenza. And, a lot of, there have been a lot of talks about, changing ownership. So this could be the week. So it's definitely a important week, not only for Cittadella, but for Cosenza.
Got it.
Yeah, so Bari Brescia descended in a 2-2 draw. Brescia coming back twice to get a draw. I do finally get 1 point above you now, but we both get another point because we both agree on Sassuolo Südtirol. This was a crazy game. I don't know if you saw.
Unbelievable. Yeah, Südtirol was leading 2-1 at the end of the first half, but unbelievable.
And then Sassuolo took the lead, and then Südtirol tied it until Sassuolo eventually scored 2 goals to win 5-3. That was quite an incredible game at the Mappe Stadium. And then we had Catanzaro Pisa. Pisa getting a draw in Catanzaro. Where do I get any? No, we do not get any points for.
Yeah, I predicted the victory of Catanzaro. I was really hopeful. You predicted the victory of Pisa. Instead, Catanzaro did half of the job,
Yeah, and then Juve Stabia, Palermo getting a win. Both got 0 points for that because we both predicted a draw, and we also predicted a draw in Caradesi Spezia, which ended in a Spezia emphatic victory.
Indeed.
4 goals in. Esposito scoring. How many did he score? 2?
2. The first 2, and then there was 𝐏𝐫𝐞 and Salvatore Elia.
Elia, right?
Yeah.
It's a really impressive win, and that closes the gap to Pisa for Spezia with 42 points. Pisa with 47, so that closes it to 5 now.
We're going to check out the standing in a second, keeping Cremonese at bay, far away, as they were. So this is the score for this round. This is standing at around 22.
I did pretty good.
1 point more than I did, but this improves both of our averages because normally we get about 3.5 points. So we got 4 myself and 5 for you. So great job. And now you're leading 84-82.
This was a great round for me. I got half of them correct. So, and I was really 1 goal away from getting
another one. Good job. So let's take a look at the standing before we're going to start to make our predictions. So I'm going to stop sharing this screen and I'm going to start sharing this other screen. I don't know if I have the standing open. I do right here. So these results bring us to this current situation with Sassuolo still leading at 52 points in first place, followed by Pisa at 47 and Spezia in third place with 42. As Jake explained in the opening of this episode, the next game for Spezia will be Spezia-Sassuolo. So the strongest strike line, offensive line with 50 goals scored will be meeting Spezia, which is the best defensive line as of today, with only 4 goals conceded. Following in fourth place is Cremonese with 36 points, 6 points away from Spezia, as Jake highlighted earlier. Let's see more standing. Then we have Palermo in 5th place. It's kind of coming back. This Palermo that's not really consistent, but at least is now established in the playoff area, playoff zone.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Jake,
it looks like they are going to be signing Poyampalo from
Venezia. Wow.
Yeah, so they're going to get their bomber, as they say.
So tell us about it, because I just heard from you about it. I didn't know. I knew that Poyampalo really liked Venezia as far as city as well. It has been there for 3 or 4 seasons now. So what happened? Is it not performing well enough in Serie?
I'm not, I don't know how far the deal is. I'm going to try to check right now. But, what I've been, reading, it's like, Palermo really want him and they're going to be ready. They're going to, like, Venezia want 4 million for him, but Palermo's only offering like half of it. So it's a interesting situation. I'm going to try to see, but
I mean, I'm aware that Venezia is not in the most comfortable economic position, so they might have to monetize the value of the player at this point. And Palermo, on the other end, being owned by one of the biggest funds in the sector, basically does not lack the funds to go left and right to buy players. Just like Cremonese. Cremonese is a very wealthy team. So these teams eventually will be able to perform in line with the expectations. Maybe as Palermo, it might be too late to just kill the championship, as I was predicting in our predictions pre-season. But for sure, they're going to be able to reach the one of the playoff spots, should there be playoffs.
Venezia fans do not want to give Poyampalo away.
That's for sure.
Rightfully so. I mean, they are second bottom of Serie A right now. They are currently, really struggling. So they need their goal scorer. But, it's...
I don't know how much fans have to say on this, though. I mean, I understand that, we might be pissed when they go to sell good players. But, at the end of the day, we have no control over it. So
continuing on, Juve Stabia, the team that Palermo just beat, is currently 30 points with 6th place, as well as Catanzaro and Bari with 29, both southern teams in the playoff spots. Cesena moving back up with that win, and then Mantova with 27 points. That's why it was a big game for Cittadella. They could have been up to 10th place probably if they had won. But not. But Caradese, 2 back-to-back losses, puts them in 11th. Modena, 12th, as well as Brescia and Reggiana, 14th. Cittadella still remaining outside the relegation zone because Sampdoria did lose, so it's still a 3-point gap. But Salernitana making up some ground with that win out in the relegation play-out spot now. And Frosinone with that draw remains in relegation zone, but Südtirol and Cosenza bottom with 19 and 18 points respectively.
So 6 points difference between Cosenza, that's at the bottom of the table, and Cittadella, and these two teams are going to be facing each other in these upcoming rounds. So let's start with our predictions.
Yeah, it's what Antonio was kind of saying to me is this kind of happens to Cosenza every year. The fans are tired of, every January transfer market, they're always bottom, or they're always, second to bottom in Serie B. And, they always manage to survive, by some, late heroics later in the season, getting, wins. So this could fairly well happen again. But, they are very, they're angry, and he doesn't actually think the fans are going to be protesting, looks like, in the next match. So we could see a pretty empty Gigi Marula stadium, or he said also that the fans could be protesting outside the stadium. So it's going to be an interesting situation. Not tomorrow.
Indeed.
Saturday.
I wish them well, because I started, to sympathize for Cosenza in light of the relationship with Antonio and Valentina. I like his saying when Antonio always says, "The wolf never dies."
Yeah,
so
exactly.
We'll see.
And,
I wish them well.
Yeah, and Massimo Alvini, he could be, there was speculation that he might lose his job after the Cremonese defeat, but it looks like they're still sticking with him. This might be his last chance for Alvini on the sidelines of 𝐏𝐶-𝐬𝐭-𝑑𝐶. But interestingly, the Sala Stampa for 𝐏𝐶-𝐬𝐭 in the last game against Cremonese was silent. Nobody came out to speak after the match against 𝐏𝐶-𝐬𝐭. So that's what Antonio told me. So he was at the Zini Stadium in Cremona for that game. So definitely not a great situation right now for 𝐏𝐶-𝐬𝐭.
Indeed. All right, so round number 23rd will start on Friday, January 24th at 6:30 p.m. Yeah, 6:30 p.m. CET in Alberto Pico, where Spezia will be facing Sassuolo. As far as prediction goes, it's very difficult. Like, Spezia is coming from some upside down, ups and down results. 2 draws at home with Mantova, then 1 with Juve Stabia, and in between they lost in Bari with Bari. But they very convincingly won in Carrarese, regardless of the difficulties that Mr. Luca D'Angelo had to deal with. So in the previous episode of Speaking Serie B, I mentioned I would be happy to draw and come back undefeated from Carrara, but I really would like to win with Sassuolo, proving that, they are defeatable. Although they are a team that is from another league, literally, because they got newly relegated from the Major League. If Spezia has to achieve that league, we have to be able to face and, hold our ground with teams like that. So we did draw in Reggio Emilia with Sassuolo in the first half of the season. So I really want to hope, and I predict astonishing, unexpected win by Spezia. So it's a 1 for me on this one.
Wow. Yeah, this is really... That's why the win in Carrara was very important, because if they had not won that game, that would have been 3 games without a win back to back with the
4. It would have been the 4th without the win, because we lost and draw.
Then they would be going into this match, basically without anything but a win, and their automatic promotion spots probably looks unlikely. So they have a chance right now to really make a statement and to really, show that they're very serious and compelling to go to that at least second spot. I'm going to be interested to see what the atmosphere is like at the Stadio Alberto Pico.
All right.
I'm assuming it's already sold out, or they're going to have a big
very few spots available. Something like only 7 spots in Curva Ferrovia, about 100 or 200 in Curva Piscina, and still about 400 in the Distinti sector.
But I'm sure they're going to be sold out.
Yeah. Today is Wednesday. We're still tomorrow and all Friday. So
yeah. So kind of similar to what Pisa did to Sassuolo on Boxing Day. It was a really statement win, and I definitely think Spezia has enough in them. I just don't know how Sassuolo is going to really prepare for it, because I think that Pisa game was kind of like a reality check in a way, but kind of just say, hey, this is not over. And when we go into these environments, they are going to be up for the game, the other team, and it's going to be a really hot atmosphere. So I don't know how this game is going to turn out. So to be safe, I'm going to put an X here.
I predicted you predicting an X. I was ready to click on it. No, but I understand. I totally understand. And as we were talking about it in the pre-game with Antonio Parrotto, journalist for Sassuolo, they come to La Spezia with 2 results out of the 3. I mean, Sassuolo could also be happy with a draw as long as they don't lose. In Alberto Pico, where Spezia is still undefeated. So I can see an X. I just hope for the 1. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Sassuolo definitely would be the happier of the 2 with a draw. I don't know about Spezia, because it would that would be a good result against a promotion team. You're drawing them at home, but at the same time, Pisa could go. What would be 7 points clear if they win?
Yeah, no,
exactly. Against Salernitana. So
it's important not to lose this game for Spezia, but if we want to make the step, if we want to prove ourselves and the rest of the championship that we're really there to stay and that we have a chance to keep the second spot open, grab for taking, we need to win this one. So I'm sure that Mr. Luca D'Angelo is aware of it and the players will be as well. So it's going to be an interesting game for sure. Jake, Juve Stabia Carrarese.
Two of the most newly promoted teams. This is interesting. So Carrarese, back-to-back losses against Pisa and Spezia. So they were at the top of the table. So, I don't know how much you could judge by that. I don't know. I don't know about this game. I don't know. Juve Stabia at home. I don't. This is so hard, Elia. I don't know. I
don't know why we decided to do predictions on Serie B League, but this is what we got.
yeah. Juve Stabia without a win since before Christmas, actually.
Do you want me, while you are clearing your mind, do you want me to start with the prediction?
Sure, why not?
No, the only reason is because we recently played with Carrarese, and I did listen to the post-game interview of the coach. And he said that already after losing with Pisa in the last minutes of the game, where they really deserved at least to draw, he saw that the team switched off their mind. Like even with Spezia, they were never in the game. So although they performed until now much above anybody's expectation, I would say, I didn't see Carrarese being so close to the playoff spots. And I do hope for them, because even for the history of our club, Spezia and Carrarese, it would be nice to have even next season this meeting of the two. I do think that they're going to be able to avoid relegation, but not as comfortably as it might have appeared in the most recent rounds. So Juve Stabia lost with Palermo, which is acceptable, but I think it's a much more convincing team of this Serie B league. And playing at home, I don't think that they're going to lose another game. While Carrarese might actually living a very difficult moment, because the players, according to how the coach interpreted them, are not responding mentally to his request. So I see a Carrarese that is in some sort of difficulty. So for me, I'm going to predict Juve Stabia Carrarese a 1 on this one as well.
Yeah, you may have just convinced me there. I'm also going to put a 1 as well. I think Juve Stabia is going to get back to form, and Carrarese still not out of the woods yet.
All right. So Cosenza Cittadella, do you want to start? This should be your turn now.
Sure. Yeah. So these last two meetings in Cosenza were draws, and this is always a important fixture for the race to the Salvezza, because Cosenza is always the team fighting for relegation, and Cittadella as well in these recent years. So it's another direct clash, and this might be bigger than the Mantova one, because you could say Mantova is going to finish comfortably mid-table, but Cosenza, I think, is a different story. They're definitely going to be fighting until the last day. This is a great opportunity for Cittadella to get a win, to really put some space up above them, because I don't know what Sampdoria or Salernitana is going to do. Regardless of what they do, it's still not going to be safety yet. But given the way they played against Mantova, I think if they play with that same ideas and same intensity, I think they have a real chance in this match. However, Cosenza is just always one of those teams. I was checking, they had 8 defeats this season. They've lost 8 games this season. Only 2 of those were more than they lost by more than 2 goals, or more than 1 goal, let's say. So, and that came very recently against Cremonese, and then earlier this year against Südtirol, I believe it was. So, they've 6 losses that they've had this season, they've only lost by 1 goal. So
right.
They are always a difficult team to play against, and I don't know how it really is going to work out. So this I'm going to comfortably say in X.
Got it. Yes. So I believe also in light of how you explained this, that Cittadella lost with Mantova, that Cittadella is currently going through a much more convincing moment, a much easier moment than Cosenza is living. I do sympathize for Cosenza, and I feel for Alvini, honestly, but I don't think that is going to make it out of this one alive, not even this game. So I see actually Cittadella potentially, because even as far as organic, as teams, as players, I keep listening to Lupi Sinasce every now and then, and everybody is not complaining about how Alvini is managing the squad, but how poorly set up the squad is. Like, they don't have valuable players for these categories. So I could predict a 2, because I'm much more impressed and convinced by Cittadella performances, even after reading the stats. But I do want to hope that Cosenza is not going to really lose the category and Alvini his job. So I want to hopefully predict an X, agree with you, and wish them well. But most likely Cosenza is going to lose this one. So I'm going to say X, because I wish them well.
All right.
Cesena Bari. Now, let's see. Cesena is currently occupying the 9th place with 29 points, together with Bari and Catanzaro. So this is a very important game for both teams. Bari is coming off a win and 2 consecutive draws after losing 2 games, while Cesena lost 3 games, draw 1, and won the most recent one with Sampdoria in Genoa. So it was an important away win. I have no idea. Bari draw with Brescia 2-2 at home. So Cesena at home, it's a solid team, you told me in the past. How about an X on this one as well? X for me.
All right. Yeah. Bari beating Cesena in the first leg of this season in Bari.
And Bari draws a lot anyway, so it's not. Yeah, X. I'm confident. Go ahead.
Yeah,
sorry, Jay.
I'm also X too.
Awesome.
Yeah, I see a draw on this. I don't know why.
All right, Frosinone su Tirol, you're up.
Oh, another important game at the bottom of the table. Frosinone facing Südtirol at home. Now, Südtirol, they scored 3 goals against Sassuolo. I don't think that should be taken lightly. In their new signing, the Finnish player Niklas Pintia, I believe that's how you say his name. But he's from on loan from Bologna, I believe. And he's in 2 games, he scored 2 goals and 1 assist, both against Sassuolo and Catanzaro. So let's see if he could continue this form. And we'll have to see. But Frosinone playing at home, I think they will have enough for this. So I'm going to predict 1.
All right. We start to agree a bit too often for the sake of our game. But yeah, after the scopola, the strong defeat that Südtirol received with Sassuolo, and in light of the not so positive result, only 1 win in the last 5 games, 1 loss, 2 draws, and then another loss, with Sassuolo. I don't think they are in the mindset of winning an away game with Frosinone that needs point, and in the last 5 games at least did lose only 2 games, drawing 2 and winning 1, just like Südtirol. So I just think that the fattore campo, the fact that Frosinone will play home, will have a play. So it's a 1 for me on this one as well.
While you were saying, I was kind of debating in my head. Actually, I think Südtirol is going to win this game.
Changing your mind?
Yeah. Give me a 2.
All right, let's go back. Rewind.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right.
I just Südtirol.
Good. Go with your guts.
And every time I think, okay, this is the moment where Frosinone is gonna turn the corner. They don't. They do the opposite. So,
right.
I know they won their last scontro diretto against Salernitana, as well as the one against 𝐏𝐫𝐬𝐭-𝑑𝐨𝐮𝐧𝐝. But I see maybe a 1-0 win for 𝐏𝐶, maybe a late goal, kind of like what they did in Bari.
Got it. You are the expert on this one. So how is Mantova been performing at home?
Oh, well, they got their first away win of the season in Cittadella. So, all their wins besides, the most recent one has come at home. And, they did lose their last home match against Reggiana. But, I don't know, after these last 2 road trips against 𝐏𝐶 and then against Cittadella, that might be a lot for them. Meanwhile, Sampdoria haven't won a game since October. They were really going through a difficult moment. I don't know. It's like Mantova is like a team where, they're going to have like a lot of possession, but what are they going to do with that possession? And sometimes they didn't do much with it in possession, and Cittadella looked quite comfortable. So, eventually, sooner or later, I think Sampdoria is going to win, but I don't know about this time, so I'm going to say an X.
All right. So yes, I asked because I think that in light of the fact that Mantova, newly promoted team, is really performing above and beyond anybody's expectation, at least mine, and Sampdoria has been struggling with 3 draws in the 5 most recent games and 2 losses, with Leonardo Semplici yet to find his first victory leading the team. This might be one of those games where Sampdoria plays with a little bit less of pressure on them. Like anybody, almost everybody is expecting them to not win in Mantova because they're a solid team, they're ahead of the game, and Sampdoria sits at the bottom of the table. But what if they do? So I'm gonna gamble and predict a 2 on this one. Sampdoria finally achieving a win under Leonardo Semplici, and then they're not gonna let her get relegated. Come on. So it's a 2 for me on this one.
All righty, that's quite a bold prediction you have there.
It is. Now we have Reggiana-Palermo. So Reggiana-Palermo is really kicking some butts lately. So let's see. Palermo is arriving at this game from 5th place, 6 points away from 4th place, where Cremonese has 36 points and Palermo is behind with Juve Stabia at 30. They did win 3 games in the last 5 games with 2 losses, and Reggiana is sitting in 14th place with 25 points together with Brescia. 2 wins, 1 draw, and 2 losses for Reggiana. But Palermo is, it's a better team, hands down. So, if you look at just the 2 teams, Palermo is going to win this one. But in Reggio Emilia, it's not that easy. So, did I predict many X's? I'm so balanced. Only 1, 2, 3 1s and 1 X. So, in light of the fact that Palermo is being more convincing, but throughout the season so far, he has been achieving results, a little bit under their performances, I'm going to predict an X. Reggiana-Palermo X for me.
All right. Yeah, Palermo is another team that hasn't won away from home since September.
Wow.
And they went on I think they won their first, they won 3 straight road games in the month of September and August. But since then, they have not won any on the road. So, but, I think they're going to break it. I think, also I haven't predicted many 2s in this round, so I'll say a 2 for this. Reggiana, they gave up that late goal in Salernitana, or in Salerno for that fact. They haven't been really, good in these. I know they won in Cremona, they beat Juve Stabia, they won in Mantova, so this could go either way, but, for the sake of, the craziness in this league, I'll say Palermo winning.
We don't give much credit to Reggiana, and none of us sees Palermo losing this game. So, all right, we'll see what happens. Next game is Brescia-Catanzaro. Brescia has been drawings and drawing and drawing and drawing. The last 5 games, 5 draws. So I don't know how many consecutive, if there is more than 5, but it hasn't been very convincing. 6 consecutive draws.
Well, eight draws of their last 9 games, but that one time they didn't lose was against Catanzaro.
Huh. So the thing is that although they might interrupt their drawing after, just as far as the odds go, they can't keep on drawing all the remaining games. I do think that Catanzaro is a better team than Brescia. So for this reason, I'm going to predict a 2.
Yeah, well, I know Catanzaro beat them in the reverse leg, but come on, these two teams have so many draws between. Let's see, how many do they have? 24 draws in combined between them. So this definitely is a draw for me, an X.
This is a biscotto. Is that what you're saying, Jake?
I wouldn't say a biscotto, but like this is just this would be the least surprising results of the year.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Both teams cannot are in love with drawing games. So yeah, this is definitely.
They're more interested in not losing games other than winning them. But it is what it is. Exactly. This is one of Italian mindset, an old school mindset. Pisa Salernitana. Jake, you're up.
Yeah, Pisa. This on paper should be a good win, a win, but Salernitana, since the winter market, has really been trying to regain some form, and Alberto Cherry on loan from Como, I believe it is. He scored 3 goals in the last 2 games, so he's on fire. And Pisa, I did read that one of their important players, let me see who it was. I believe it was Tremoni, who has scored. Let me see. Give me one moment.
Take your time.
Tremoni, who scored 8 goals and 2 assists. I believe I'm looking at the right person. This Serie B season, he's out injured for a while, so he'll probably miss this game. And as well as their captain and the center back, Caracciolo, yeah, Antonio Caracciolo in defense. He was going to be
who scored with Carrarese.
Yes, he did score, but he did get a yellow card as suspended. How do you say it? Diffidati or whatever.
Diffidati.
Yeah. So he was going to be sitting out. So I don't know how to feel. Yes, I think this definitely should be an easy win for Pisa, but I'll say a draw on this. I think Salernitana will be tough to beat in this game.
All right. I do hope that you're right. I don't see Pisa losing at home with Salernitana, but maybe 1-1 with Daniele Verde scoring a penalty and giving us Salernitana a draw that would do well to Spezia as well. So I agree with you. Pisa Salernitana X. I just hope Pisa is not going to win. The last game of the 23rd round is Cremonese-Modena. Cremonese is really, how do you say, picking some names, something like that. So they're really performing.
Gaining some momentum, definitely.
Gaining momentum. So 5, at least out of what I see here, the last 5 games, 5 consecutive positive results. 3 wins, 2 draws.
And only 1 loss in their last 9.
Yeah, so they're really in some great shape. And we have Modena sitting in 12th position with 26 points, 3 draws, 1 win, and 1 loss.
Modena is another team that likes to draw a lot. They have
I do hope in an X, but I'm going to predict a 1. Cremonese is just too healthy now. You know what I mean? What are your thoughts?
I mean, I hate to agree with you again for another prediction, but I do see Cremonese comfortably winning this. I think they just have too much, and I think they're gaining form at maybe too early, because I think they would rather hit this type of momentum towards April and May going into the playoffs. But it's never too early in Serie B to gain some ground. So yeah, I think it's a 1 for me.
All right, this concludes our predictions for round 23 of the Serie B league. Oh, sorry. Do you want? Yeah, sorry. Because also, okay, there you go. Here it is.
Yeah, a lot of X's from me. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But let's see if I could. I want to get one match day where I get above 5 correct results. So like 6 or 7. That's my goal.
I think your best record was 7 on like round 1 of the first, round 2 or round 3. Go back and check out the episode, guys, to see when Jake scored a whole 7 points. That's the record to beat so far. So thank you very much for staying with us and sharing our passion. And we will be live again on Wednesday. Jake, if you just want to remind us where they can find our content and where they can start to follow us.
Yep, as always, 𝐏𝐵𝐞-𝐸 for articles, news, all that stuff. Remember, we have the exclusive interview with Roberto Venturato, ex-coach of Cittadella, and as well, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, 𝐏𝐵𝐞-𝐸. The transfer market's heating up, so stay up to date with the news and stuff. And we also podcast 𝐏𝐵𝐞-𝐸 show. You can find it anywhere on all platforms. Go check out our latest episode with Antonio Palopoli from Media Sud and Lotta con i Lupi.
And you can tell how prepared Jake is, because not only about the transfer market of Cittadella, but a bunch of other teams. He told us about Poyampalo coming down potentially from Venezia into Palermo and much more. As far as I'm concerned, you can follow us on YouTube. Elia the Italian Guy is the name of the channel. And we are also on Instagram and TikTok, as well as Elia the Italian Guy and as SPEZIato. That's it for today. Guys, we'll be live again next Wednesday. Stay tuned, stay with us, and we will be speaking Serie B.